Two British climbers' terrible tragedy on Mount Everest. In the realm of mountaineering, where perilous peaks await the fearless, one mountain stands as both an alluring siren and an unforgiving mistress, the formidable Mount Everest. It's a realm where even the most seasoned climbers grapple with the capricious interplay of safety and risk, especially beyond the formidable 8,000-meter mark. This is a chilling reality that Peter Boardman and Joe Tasker confronted, an ordeal that resonates with the indomitable spirit of mountaineers who aim to conquer the unconquerable. In the resolute era of the 1970s, Joe Tasker and Peter Boardman emerged as icons transcending the realm of climbing. Their saga of courage began long before the 1970s, with Joe Tasker hailing from a devout Catholic family. After pursuing sociology at Manchester University, he veered away from conventional career paths to devote his time to his true calling. In the European Alps, he etched his mark alongside accomplished mountaineer Dick Renshaw, surmounting demanding routes. Peter Boardman, 25 December 1950 to 17 May 1982, was a climber and novelist from England. He is most known for a series of daring and lightweight Himalayan treks, typically in collaboration with Joe Tasker, as well as his contribution to mountain writing. Boardman and Tasker perished on Mount Everest's northeast ridge in 1982. In their honor, the Boardman-Tasker Prize for Mountain Literature was founded. Joe studied at Ushaw Seminary in County Durham from the age of 13 to 20 in order to become a Catholic priest. Fascinated by Jack Olson's book, The Scale Up to Hell, which recounted terrifying accounts of catastrophic efforts to scale the north face of the Eiger, he began climbing in a nearby quarry in 1966. He worked as a dustman after leaving the seminary before studying sociology at Manchester University, where he was an active member of the student union's Gypsy Liaison and Soup Run clubs. During this time, he improved his climbing abilities, progressing from rock climbing in the UK to more difficult routes in the Alps. In May 1982, Joe and Pete embarked on a harrowing climb up the northeast ridge of Mount Everest, a symphony of grit and determination. They adorned the mountain's cape in their vibrant red jackets, defying the odds. Their brave journey vanished into the abyss, the stark reality of Everest's unyielding nature. It took up to 1988 until the next climbers, Russell Bryce and Harry Taylor, conquered the three pinnacles and maybe could solve the mystery surrounding the death of Joe and Pete. But unfortunately, the fate of Joe and Pete remained shrouded in mystery. British mountaineers had last visited the north side of Everest in the 1930s. Permission for the 1982 expedition was obtained after the Chinese government began opening up mountains to foreign expeditions. The northeast ridge on the Tibetan side of Everest was an obvious choice. Elegant, unknown, and looked, from the few photographs we had, difficult but possible. The northeast ridge rises 2 miles from the Rafula, 6,510 meter, to the northeast shoulder, 8,393 meter, and the junction with the North Ridge. From there, the summit is almost another mile away. The crux of the northeast ridge is a series of pinnacles high on the ridge before the junction with the North Ridge. The 1982 expedition consisted of Boardman, Chris Bonington, Dick Renshaw, and Joe Tasker, supported by expedition Dr. Charles Clark and Adrian Gordon, and Chinese base camp staff. Tasker had responsibility for filming the expedition documentary. The expedition arrived at base camp on 16 March 1982 and began acclimatization forays and establishment of camps further up the Rongbuk Glacier. By April, the team had begun climbing on the ridge, establishing snow caves at 6,850 meter and 7,256 meter. In early May, their third and highest snow cave was established at 7,850 meters. While climbing on the first pinnacle above 8,000 meter, Renshaw experienced a minor stroke. After suffering a second stroke at base camp and following medical advice, Renshaw left to return home accompanied by Clark as far as Chengdu. By this time, Bonington realized that he would be unable to go much higher on the mountain without the use of supplementary oxygen and switched to a support role. He intended to climb to the North Col with Gordon.
It is the model of Everest in the Royal Geographical Society in London.
And wait there while Boardman and Tasker made a final push to cross the three pinnacles, a formation of steep rocks along the northeast ridge on Mount Everest. Boardman and Tasker left Advanced Base Camp on 15 May and reached the second snow cave the same day. By May 16th, they reached the third snow cave and made what was to be their last radio contact with Bonington that evening. On 17 May, they moved slowly beyond the first pinnacle and were last seen at 9:00 p.m. at the foot of the second pinnacle at 8,250 meters, having been climbing for 14 hours. By May 21st, with no sign of Boardman and Tasker for 4 days, Bonington and Clark traveled up the Kangshung Valley, the other side of the ridge, for any sign of the missing climbers, while Gordon maintained a watch at Advanced Base Camp. By the beginning of June, the expedition was back at base camp, and Bonington traveled to Chengdu to break the news of the deaths to Boardman and Tasker families. Boardman's death was reported in the media.
Scale and the size of the objective dangers. In the Alps, the Serac walls.
And transmitted to Hilary Boardman in Leysen and Dorothy Boardman in Manchester. On July 11th, 1982, a memorial service was conducted at St. George's Church in Stockport. Hilary Boardman and Maria Coffey, Joe Tasker's girlfriend, traveled to the north side of Everest as far as Advanced Base Camp in September 1982 to recreate Boardman and Tasker's previous trek. Boardman and Tasker's high point was not reached on expeditions to the Northeast Ridge in 1985, 1986, or 1987. Russell Bryce and Harry Taylor crossed the pinnacles in August 1988, completing the unclimbed segment of the route before descending down the North Ridge. Due to the thick monsoon snow cover, they observed no indication of Boardman or Tasker. In 1992, a combined Japanese-Kazakh expedition crossed the pinnacles but was unable to proceed to the top. They discovered a body beyond the second pinnacle on the Rombuk side of the ridge at roughly 8,200 meters. Photographs obtained by Vladimir Suviga and transmitted to Chris Bonington allowed the body to be recognized as Peter Boardman based on his attire and characteristics. A Japanese expedition scaled the whole ridge in 1995. They also discovered a corpse that was first considered to be Joe Tasker. Chris Bonington concluded that both sightings were of Boardman after re-examining all of the evidence. At first, it was assumed that this was Joe Tasker, but after carefully comparing the written descriptions and photographs provided by each expedition, I became convinced that this was the same as the original sighting, and thus that of Pete. As we conclude this expedition through words, it's important to recognize that the story of Boardman and Tasker is more than just an exploration of mountain terrain.
Roger, you're a bit indistinct. I understand that there's no sign of him, but there's...
It's a journey into the heart of the human experience. It's a tribute to the pioneers of the impossible, the dreamers who dared to ascend heights that few even fathom. Their spirits are immortalized in the winds that sweep through the Himalayas, whispering tales of courage and audacity to all who listen. In the end, the tragedy that unfolded on Everest's northeast ridge is a poignant reminder that the mountains are more than geological formations. They are repositories of human stories, symbols of our unyielding spirit, and reflections of our ceaseless yearning to transcend the ordinary and embrace the extraordinary.